Alright. I've been asked many times to do a video about my personal belief in God. Well, guess let's just cut through a whole lot of stuff real quick. I want to make this as fast as possible, because discussions of religion can last forever. And so this is just one of those things I want to get out of the way right now. Do I believe in God? Not in the conventional sense. Do I believe that Jesus is God? No. No, I don't. And I don't believe Jesus believed that he was God. Matter of fact, I believe it's John 14:28 where Jesus specifically states that he goes to the Father, for the Father is greater than he is. And he says, if you love me, you would rejoice because I go to the Father, and the Father is greater than I. Now, I can tell you right now, that means that Jesus is quite aware that he's in the flesh and blood. I do believe that because Jesus spoke of unconditional love, that he was in fact doing a lot of the feats that they said that he did. That is, if Jesus was actually on this planet and is not a made-up character. Okay, there are several different messiahs that have come almost under the same exact circumstances that Jesus did. Yeshua. Okay, Jesus. Now, there were other religions that claimed that they ran into a character that did in fact do a lot of the things that Jesus did. Again, walked on water, water to wine, that sort of thing. Tons of miracles, okay? But I suggest looking throughout history in regards to messiahs, because there was a few that came before Jesus under almost the same exact circumstances, okay? The one thing that I do believe in 100% is that Jesus spoke of love. And if Jesus wasn't here, then I will say this: the fact that many of the world's religions have talked about love being the primary force which binds us all, I do believe that. But otherwise, religion in of itself is a control mechanism, okay? And we only need to look over centuries upon centuries of evidence and history that shows us that religion of itself, if misunderstood, can be a very dangerous thing for society, okay? It's been used to stamp out, it's been used for genocide, stamped out millions upon billions of people, okay? So when one misinterprets their Bibles or their Qurans or whatever it is, or whatever else it is that they're reading, it creates a dangerous cocktail, okay? Because instead of people looking at things objectively and trying to see the message behind things, they try to translate things extremely literally, okay? And if you look throughout the Bible, there's more than enough contradictions in the Bible that should let a person know that maybe the message was something that was put there as a general rule of thumb, as opposed to things that we translate, especially in a more modern age, in its literal sense. There is no literal sense with the Bible. There's too many contradictions within it. Myself, I've read the Bible well enough. Okay, I was brought up Methodist, okay, African American Methodist, so it's very strange stuff. But I was brought up Methodist, so I had my fair share of washing of the mind, okay? And so what I started doing when I was a child, even to this very day, is I went through the Bible, and I went through the Bible, and I would take the Bible up to a preacher. I would take the Bible up to my mother. I would take the Bible up to Sunday school teachers, and I would show them the contradictions, and then I would not get a very good explanation as a result of those contradictions. So slowly but surely, through a whole lot of experiences and through a whole lot of studying, I finally came to the conclusion that the Bible and religion is there primarily to keep people in line. It's primarily there to support a fear base. It is there to keep you perpetuating a monetary machine. Okay? Religion is nothing more than marketing, and it's nothing more than a means to keep people on the straight and narrow. Okay? So I do not believe in religion. Now, do I believe in God? Do I believe in an almighty creator? I do believe in a collective consciousness that has a singular, in fact, consciousness that branches itself off by the billions and trillions and trillions and trillions. But yes, I do believe that there is one thing that created the whole show. But you got to understand that there's matrices connected upon matrices connected upon matrices. So the universe is very wide and very vast. And the one that we would call God represents the collective of that whole. Okay? I think of God as more of a landlord that is renting out space to creators. Okay? God does not need to exist in the light and does not need to exist outside of the light. It can exist anywhere. Okay? The only things that need light are things that are of more of an egoic mind. Okay? Because light is the very thing that separates all of us. Okay? Light, because this is light right here, it's compressed at a different frequency. Therefore, when I touch it, I don't go through it. Okay? So it's, while we are in physical bodies, okay, and while we have incarnated in places like this, we have the illusion of separation. Light is the translator of information that tells us that we are separate from one thing to the next. Light is ego, ego is light. It is the mode and method for separation. So those who rely on the light and those who are dependent upon the light, if you look up the term Lucifer, there you go, light bearer. Okay? Those who are dependent upon the light for recognition of either their godhood or just their human selves, if you're dependent upon that, then you are literally wallowing in separation. Okay? And there's a lot of people who have separated this idea that if you're of the light, then you're not of the dark, and if you're of the dark, you're not of the light. Okay, well, first and foremost, I've got this thing that I explained on Facebook. Dark and darkness are two different things. Okay? The only thing that would need light in order to claim itself as God is something that is dependent upon that light for the recognition thereof. Okay, so do you understand that? Those who worship the light, okay, whether it be positive behavior or negative behavior, all fall under the same quote unquote God. Alright? You understand what light is and what it means. Intelligence, we do know that light is intelligent. Okay, we do know that light is sentient because of the double slit experiment. Okay, light knows when it's being observed. That indicates some pretty hefty implications. Okay, and so if light knows when it is being observed and it changes behavior from a particle to a wave, then that tells us the light in itself is sentient and that there's an intelligence that runs through the whole thing. Again, light is a method or a translator of information. It is not a divine source of God. Okay? God created light. Our silly little Bible even tells us, and then God created light and he thought it was good. Okay? Whether that has any truth or merit or not coming from the Bible is one thing, but I can tell you this. I've met the intelligences that we would claim as God, and I've met the intelligences that I know to be the machine, and the machine is the only thing that is dependent upon the light. Okay? Because once the source of the sun goes out, this whole matrix, this whole system collapses. Okay? And so anyone could tell you that once the sun goes out, we maybe survive for a few days, maybe even a week or two, but eventually everything dies because of it. So as soon as that sun goes out and there is no more light, everything here dies. So in other words, only those who are dependent upon the light for their existence are the ones who need the light. Okay? If you were to take Satan or Lucifer, who is the light bearer, okay, if you were to take that being and put it in the dark, not darkness, darkness is a state of mind. But if you were to take that same being and put it in a complete void where there is no matrices, no nothing to recognize it as a god, well, it will beg its way out of there. Okay? I'm telling you this right now. Put it in a place where there's no one to recognize it as a god or as something to be revered, and it will go completely and totally insane. Even the name Satan is dependent upon that egoic center which we all use to be called in terms of names. Okay? When you call my name, I recognize it. It gives recognition, awareness, and power to me right there on the spot the minute that you call my name. Well, that's the same thing it does for Satan. Okay? The more Christians fear Satan, the more power you give to it. The more you talk about it, the more power you give to it. In fact, I noticed that many Christians talk more about Satan than they do about Jesus or God. Okay? You give too much reverence to it, you give too much of your fear to it, and by default, you give it your power. Okay? God is of love. I have a lot of people say light, love, and peace to me. I'm sending you my light. I'm sending you my this. I'm sending you my that. The fact of the matter is, love, unconditional love, is the key to it all. Okay, so it's not light, it's not dark, it's not your polarity of positive or negative. By default, love is positive. Because if you are in a state of unconditional love with everything, you treat it as if you would treat yourself. Unity, oneness. Okay, so I myself do not believe in Jesus Christ as the supreme God, because Jesus Christ didn't believe itself as that. Okay, so again, I think you should look it up. It is John 14:28. And right there, Jesus tells you, own words, that I'm going to God because God is greater than I. So you got to understand that there is a diversion process going on with religion and with everything out there, because they're always trying to keep you worshiping something that you can see, feel, and touch. Okay? Why would you worship another human being? Why would you worship a man who walks in the flesh? I don't care what that being does. Okay? I don't care if it flies right in front of you. You don't give your worship to it. And especially if it's telling you that it itself is not God. Okay? I can tell you this. I myself would be sickened to my stomach if someone was trying to worship me. Okay? If someone was trying to bow down to me, and I would be sickened to my stomach if I was expected to bow down to something else. No sentient being out there of true awareness and love and unconditional love would expect you to bow to it. Sorry, it's not true. You're not expected to bow to anything. You're expected to cultivate yourself. Take responsibility for yourself. Okay? Be the change that you want to see in the world. Be the love that is lacking here. And by doing that, for every single person that does that, that unified approach, that unified system becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Okay? So, just know that we are, in fact, one thing. It may seem like we're something different, but we're not. We are one thing. It's the reason why the genetic code, the DNA code that exists down here looks the same for roughly everything, double helix code, okay, with minor tweaks. Almost everything down here is based off the same thing. It's carbon based, okay? There's your code of separation, but it also shows you a code of unity at the same time, okay? So just know that personally, me, I don't bow to anything at all. I definitely give respect to God. God knows that I work for it hard. Okay, I bust my butt for it on a daily basis, because what I'm trying to do, again, is bring back the idea of unity and peace and unconditional love to the planet. That's the one thing that Jesus stood for, and that's the one thing that any notable, I hate to use that term guru, because guru means nothing to me. As a matter of fact, the idea of someone being some sort of a guru and putting themselves on a pedestal above someone else actually makes me sick as well. A real guru would know that every single person down here is basically on equal levels, on equal thresholds. So where they may fail in one activity, they'll be really good in another. Okay, so oftentimes we get this idea, there's that term light workers out there. Light workers get the idea that just because they have somehow awakened, that puts them on a higher pedestal than those who have not awakened. But in fact, the true God sees us all as equals. Okay, again, I want to let you know that just because you succeed or excel in energy movement, okay, does not mean that you excel in everything else. And there are plenty of people out there who know nothing about energy movement that excel in almost everything that they do. And to be quite honest, everything is energy. Everything. There's nothing that you do that exists outside of the idea that you're using energy to do it. So for those people out there who are scared of using energy, I suggest that you stop breathing, don't sleep anymore, don't walk, don't run, don't eat, don't think, because all of those things require energy and electricity that goes through your system. This is the reason why it is not illegal. This is the reason why it is okay to hone yourself, because everything that you do on this planet is based around energy movement. By speaking to you right now, energy movement. So for those who understand what it is that they're doing down here, they know that to hone oneself is to evolve. And God gives us that right. God never wanted to hold anybody back. Okay? And for the people out there who claim ignorance is bliss, if you don't know about it, let me tell you something. The less you know about something, the less you can affect it. Okay? That's the reason why I spend my time learning about everything that I can, so that way I can have a positive impact upon it. The reason why I love people so much is because I want to have a positive impact. I looked at my life one day, looked at myself in the mirror and said, is this the person that I want to be? Because I used to be a very negative person. Is this what I want to be known for? Is this the legacy I want to leave behind? No. The legacy I want to leave behind is someone who was loving and someone who adapted to their surroundings and tried to help others to adapt and care for one another. That's what I want to leave behind, because that's the true me. So, recap here, I do not believe in God in the conventional sense. I do not believe Jesus Christ is God, and neither did Jesus Christ. If you sit and continuously worship something, you will never see your own divinity. Okay? If you're constantly bowing down to something else, if you're constantly revering something else, if you're constantly jealous of someone else because you feel that their abilities are greater than yours, or you're trying to compete, then you will never understand what unification is. Okay? The reason why I better myself and the reason why I do self-mastery in the first place has nothing to do with self-service. It has to do with collective service. For every bit that I master and hone myself, I have more knowledge to help teach other people so they can master and hone themselves. Okay? And I one day hope to find someone who is extremely adept at energy movement so I can learn from them. Because I don't have any earth teachers. I've never been taught here. The only earth teachers that I have would actually be the natural system, like plants, animals, that sort of thing. I can say animals have been some of my best teachers because they walked me into the idea of unconditional love. And plants are, in terms of energy movement, they're the only things that taught me anything about energy movement here on Earth. So I've got off-world teachers, whether people want to believe that or not, that's irrelevant and I don't care. You can think of me what you wish. All I can tell you is this: my results speak for themselves. So, anyway, that is my feeling of God. I truly love God. I am a servant thereof, and I have chosen to be a servant. So I do believe in God. Okay? And in terms of God complexes, I want to say this right now. Only a youthful soul, and I mean very youthful, gravitates towards themselves being a God or the Son of God. Okay? A lot of people, once they first start moving energy, the first thing that they grip to is the idea that there's something special. Even if you were something special in terms of being a servant, you're still nothing special. Okay, Jesus would have been the first to tell you that he was nothing special. That he said that everyone could do it, and that one day you will do greater things than me. Okay? So that's indicating that he knew that we were all the sons and daughters of God. All of us. So those are my words about this issue. Eternal love.